Well, this week we're going to talk about manganese real quick. Manganese is the Mn. Make sure we don't confuse that with the Mg on our soil test. That's magnesium. We've talked about that in previous weeks. But manganese is one of those nutrients that, again, is sometimes it gets a lot of press. You may go to a meeting where they talk about it. Sometimes it gets put on the back burner, just depending on kind of where you're at and whether it's in style or not. But it is a very important nutrient. It always has been. The main role of manganese is it's what I call the trigger nutrient. It activates a lot of enzymes in the plant. It kind of triggers a lot of the biological processes going on in a plant. Again, both corn and soybeans, wheat, it's important. So if we see a manganese deficiency, we're slowing that plant development down. We can kind of cause some issues. So very important nutrient for a good reason. Again, kind of like boron, this nutrient's immobile in the plant. It doesn't translocate up and down the plant real well. So again, that's where we see a lot of foliar applications. When you look at a lot of the micronutrient mixes that are applied foliar in our portfolio throughout the industry, a lot of them will have a little bit of manganese in it. And so those multiple trips across the field, those micronutrient blends contain manganese, again, because it's good to add that on a growing plant as opposed to relying on all of it trying to come from the soil and be moved up through the plant. So that's why we see a lot of the foliar applications. One of the challenges with manganese is it does compete to get in the plant with some other nutrients, ammonia and iron. And so there's a competition going as far as keeping some of those in balance. If we get too much of one uptake, we can run into issues. And we see that especially the deficiencies show up on certain soils, high pH soils, which get those higher iron contents, sandy soils, dry soils. If we're very dry and we're not mineralizing manganese, not getting that moisture uptake, or you get just a mucky, waterlogged soil, that's where typically we'll see that yellow flash both in corn and soybean leaves. And we especially see it in soybeans. It seems like we see a lot of manganese flashing off and on, and that's usually correctable with a foliar application. But these are the watch out soil types where we typically see a little more issue, even more so based off of kind of your soil type than actually your soil test levels. So again, like all micronutrients, we don't remove a lot. It's about 2 pounds that's needed in 250 bushel corn, about 3/4 of a pound in 75 bushel soybeans, and you'll see only about 0.01 pounds per bushel, so very little actually leaves with our grain in both corn and soybeans. So most of that gets regenerated. That's why we don't see a lot of manganese applications. We don't talk about it a lot, but again, as we move into higher yield environments, we start removing a little more. That plant requires a little more. That's where we start watching for it and being aware of this as being something that might pop up on the list as being a limiting factor.